Hello and Happy New Year! I hope you have had an excellent Christmas, if you did Christmas, and that you're looking forward to 2025. Whether you have big plans for the year or not, I hope you have a good year coming up. I thought I would start the year with just a bit of a sit-down, fireside, chit-chatty video, partly because I haven't done one for a while, and partly because I've got various things to get off my chest, including my own plans for 2025 and what's going to be coming up on this channel. So if you are a regular viewer, settle down with the usual cup of tea and packet of biscuits. If you are simply a passing viewer, well, welcome along. You're more than welcome to join in, but a lot of what I say may or may not make any sense in terms of what I've got coming up. I suppose the most obvious thing, of course, is that Twiggy, my cabin cruiser, the plan is to continue refurbishing, at least once the weather gets a little bit warmer. It's outside in a boatyard and it's cold and wet and miserable, and no matter that there are various ways of warming the back of the boat up with lights and warming things, I would still be cold, and I don't fancy doing fiberglassing in ski gloves, so I'm going to wait till the weather gets a little bit better before I continue fiberglassing the back and putting the new transom on. At the moment, the boat is just sitting there surrounded by loads of other boats. There is a large tarpaulin over the back of the boat to keep most of the rain off. It's not totally working, I must be honest. I noticed when I went to check on it the other day that the rain comes down the side of the boat and then goes down the gunnels round the back, and even though the back of the boat is at a kind of angle like that, the water is trickling around and then somehow still managing to get down the back of the boat and in, but it's all pooling, and there are enough holes in the boat, as you may recall if you saw the last videos on my DIY efforts, that water will just trickle out of the back of it at the end. So there is also water pooling in the centre cockpit, even though that is covered by a canvas cover, and I'm not sure where that is getting in from, because I thought that canvas cover was fairly rainproof, so it could be water trickling in from other holes. I don't know. Anyway, it builds up. There's a hole in the floor, it can go down into the bilge, and then there's a hole in the bilge. There are enough holes in the boat that any water that is accumulating in it will end up out the back at some point or other. Obviously, once I have finished fully refurbishing it, that will no longer be the case. Now, I intend to continue the level of video output in 2025 that I have been doing for the last couple of years, which is to say roughly one video every 10 days, 3 a month. And sometimes I get people saying in the comments, "Oh, look, it's a new video from you, haven't seen you for ages." And I'm going to come back onto that in a minute with a little rant about YouTube, but I have been pretty consistently putting out one every roughly 10 days, 3 a month, and that is what I intend continuing to do. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It's free, doesn't cost anything. Again, I'll come back to that in a second, but it should hopefully prompt YouTube to let you know when a new video has just been published. So one of those 3 every month, I would say at least one, will be a Twiggy DIY video. I don't really want to do more than one in every 3 being about Twiggy DIY, because this doesn't want to be purely a boat restoration channel. I like covering all aspects of canals, canal boats, narrow boats, the inland waterways generally, and there are many other topics to cover, as well as me going to visit friends on their boats and doing other bits and bobs. So it shouldn't just be a Twiggy renovation channel, because there is a core audience that is interested in that, but there's also a core audience that wants to see other aspects of the canals as well. And I'm hoping that if I do one Twiggy, one something else, and one something else every month, then at least once a month there is some video that some part of the audience is interested in, enough to keep people, you know, continuing to watch the channel as it ticks away through the year. So what would those other 2 videos be per month? Well, one of them will be me visiting someone else or covering some aspect of the canals. I've got kind of a sorted thing planned. I've had a few invitations from people to join them. I've got a few other stuff that's coming along. It's all a bit nebulous and tenuous at the moment. It was the same last year. I was sitting there looking at my planning document and going, oh my word, I've got no videos to put out. And then somehow they just kind of all come along and fall into place. And then the 3rd video each month, can't tell you anything about it, but there's something rather interesting on the horizon. If you are a long-time viewer of the channel, you're going to look at this and go, ah, at last! He should have done that. We knew he was going to do that. Well, maybe. You see, it's not absolutely definite. I should know early in January if this thing that I can tell you no more about, or will tell you no more about at the moment, I should know early January if that's going to happen. And if it does, then there will be a video at the end of January saying, look, this thing has happened, and it's going to mean loads of videos. So let us hold fire on that, and all will be revealed in the fullness of time. Now, that's what's coming during the year, and other stuff ad hoc. Oh, there may be, people have been saying this for ages, but there may be an overseas trip coming along at some point during the year as well. I'm just working on the details on that at the moment, but that should be some really, really nice videos as well. Now, to go back to the whole YouTube thing and saying, do make sure you are subscribed, I do have people in the comments saying, as I say, I haven't seen a video from you for ages, or, oh, you've been away, you're back, and things like that. And no, I have been consistently turning out videos. The thing is, YouTube doesn't always tell you when I put a video up, and I think this is, it's kind of a problem of a lot of people, and I don't mean to be rude, but a lot of people don't know how to use YouTube. For example, I had a very angry comment the other day. Someone had gone onto one of my videos and left a comment that said, I do not wish to watch this video. I do not wish to watch any of your videos. I have no interest in your channel. Stop showing me your videos. There's no point telling me, mate, what you see on the YouTube homepage is up to YouTube, and you have the option to tell YouTube, I don't want to see further videos from this channel. So that's up to you. But in the same way, I think a lot of people rely on the YouTube homepage to let them know when channels they're interested in have uploaded new content, because it's not an unreasonable assumption, but it's not necessarily the case. YouTube sometimes puts videos on the homepage that are the new ones from creators you follow, and sometimes it doesn't. The only reliable way to know that you have seen the latest videos from YouTube channels that you follow is not to rely on the homepage, but go to the subscriptions tab. There is an actual button on the app, subs, you click on that, and it's all in chronological order with the latest videos from the creators first, and then as you go down, it's going back through time. But any video that any channel you've subscribed to will be on the subscriptions tab. So if you're thinking, I haven't seen a video from so-and-so in a while, it's the subs tab you want, not the homepage. And I really do think I needed to make that point, because I think a lot of people are missing it and relying on YouTube volunteering latest videos on the homepage, which isn't necessarily the case. And also, in terms of subscribing, remember, it's free to subscribe. It's a terrible choice of word. They should have renamed it to follow or like or something like that. But a YouTube subscribe just means you are telling YouTube, I'm interested in this channel's videos. Let me know when they have a new one come up and put them onto my subscriptions tab. You can go on to become a channel member if that channel offers it, which involves money and has perks and things, but you don't have to. As long as you click subscribe, it's totally free, and it just means you're saying to YouTube, I'm interested in this channel. But again, I cannot stress highly enough, the best place to look for all the videos from channels you are subscribed to is your subscriptions page. Now, the other annoying thing that YouTube has started doing, I think in about the last 2 or 3 months, it added a new feature, that's always bad news, and it's called stable volume. And okay, I'm being slightly harsh to it because it probably is a good idea. The new stable volume, which is enabled by default on videos, tries to squish down the loud parts of volume and bring up the quiet bits so that when you're watching, everything is at a fairly consistent volume. Unfortunately, for people like me who have quiet bits in the video that are supposed to be quiet, for example, when I'm going along a canal and you've just got the gentle burble of the engine and a bit of bird song, it shouldn't be loud. It's supposed to be quiet. But YouTube's stable volume looks at it and says, this idiot creator hasn't turned the volume up, so we'll do it. And it whacks it all up, which explains why on the recent Gloucester and Sharpness cruise video, I had various people saying, gosh, that engine sounds loud. It didn't when it left me. I adjust the volume. I take quite a lot of care over my audio so that there's talky, 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 talky at this level, and then we do a bit of cruising, and it deliberately drops down to a quieter level because we're going chugga, 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 tweet, 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 and then I start talking again. And yes, it does mean that there is a difference between loud and quiet, but it's not super, super quiet, and it's not super, super loud, but it's supposed to be quieter. Anyway, rant over. The point is that if you're watching my cruising videos or any other channel where the volume should have loud and quiet bits, classical music channels, anything like that, click the little cogwheel icon on your YouTube app, and there'll come up a whole load of settings to do with whether you want captions on and what speed you want the playback at. But one of them is called stable volume, and I would urge you, turn the blooming thing off. Almost certainly you'll hear the volume immediately go a bit quieter, but you will then get the proper dynamic range of sound, so that quiet bits are quiet and loud bits are loud. And on some videos, that is actually what you want, such as, I would suggest, my cruising videos. Other channels, I mean, let's say gaming channels or whatever, you probably want to keep everything at a nice stable volume. So it has its benefits, but also it's quite a pain in the what's it for anyone who is taking the time to craft the sound levels on their videos. Right. Rants over. Let us move on to my newsletter. I've mentioned this, I think, once before, probably a year ago or so, but I do have a free monthly email newsletter, mostly of bits and bobs of canal news. I talk about what I've been up to recently in terms of filming and boating and what's coming up filming and boating. I give recommendations for other YouTube channels, not necessarily to do with boating, but things I think you might find of interest. So if you'd like to get that email, it is just one email a month. I send it out the first of the month or the end of the month, thereabouts, that sort of thing. Just go to my website and I'll leave a link in the video description below. You give us your name and email address. You can unsubscribe at any time, by the way. It's just click, unsubscribe, no hassles, no bothers, whatever. But you give it your name and email address. The system will send you an email to say, did you really mean to sign up to this? And that's so that to make sure you really have typed your proper email address in, you must click the, yes, I really did mean to sign up to this, otherwise you won't be on the mailing list. There are currently about 200 names on the newsletter that are unconfirmed. They're people who are trying to sign up for it, but they never click that, yes, I really do want to sign up for this, so they're not getting the newsletter. And I don't know, well, did they actually not mean to sign up for it? Should I delete them from the database? Or do they want the newsletter and are now sitting there going, well, where's the blooming newsletter that I was promised? You must click that first email's confirmation link. And then it says, you really did mean it, and you get added to the list thereafter. And again, I would stress, if you get bored of it at any time, you can just click another link and it will unsubscribe you without any problem. It's not a long newsletter, a few bits and bobs here and there. I also do, if you don't want to read it, a audio podcast version, which is me reading the newsletter out. Again, it's quite short, usually about 10 minutes long. It's a bit shorter this month because it's the new year, but generally about 10 minutes. Again, me reading the news items. And if you would prefer to listen to it rather than read it in your email, it's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Again, there's a link to it all on the website. Look in the video description. You can see the links to all this stuff, or just go on my website, cruisingthecut.co.uk. You'll see the menu across the top, which includes newsletter podcast, and you can find it in your usual podcast browsers, I believe. It used to be on Google Podcasts, but I think they've stopped doing Google Podcasts. I had an email from Google saying they were changing it or deleting it, or I don't know, something like that to do with the whole of Google Podcast. But you can basically find it on Spotify and Apple and Acast, which is where it's actually hosted. And it's also just there on the website as well. So if you'd like to listen to that. What else? Also on my website, if you would like a canal boat holiday, because it's the new year, perhaps your thoughts are turning in these dark, gloomy days towards taking a holiday. I've teamed up with a company called Roam and Roost, and it's a kind of alliance of canal boat hire boat firms, independent ones, and they sort of come under this banner of Roam and Roost. I say teamed up with them. I've done a thing where I've got an affiliate link, and if you book a canal boating holiday through the affiliate link, again, it's in the description, it's on my website, then I get a tiny little kickback, so it helps support the channel. So if you are thinking of doing a canal boating holiday and would like to help support me, then brilliant. Click on the Roam and Roost link and go and look at what they've got to offer, because it's a collection of independents. They're dotted all over the country, so they've got different bases, different styles of boat, all sorts of things. So go and have a look at that if you would. I'm thinking of doing a Q&A video. I think that the very next video I do is going to be another sit-down one about the costs of running a narrowboat, because I recently did one about what do used narrowboats cost to buy, and I had a few people saying, yeah, that's all very well, what do they now cost to run? So I'm going to do another sit down with a spreadsheet doing costs to run video, but I'm also toying with doing a Q&A video, as I haven't done one of those for ages. So if you do fancy putting a question my way about canals or canal boating, you know, stuff like that, stuff I can answer, then just drop it in the comments below, and I will try and compile the top 10 questions or whatever and make up some sort of Q&A video. I think that is almost it. The final thing I would mention is that if you haven't seen it, have a look at the new Wallace and Gromit film, Vengeance Most Foul. It was shown on the BBC on Christmas Day, so it's on BBC iPlayer. Around the world it is on Netflix, I believe, and it is brilliant because it ends up with this most amazing narrowboat high-speed chase across an aqueduct. It's absurd and yet just brilliant. Somebody at Aardman Animations goes canal boating or loves canal boats because the detail is just spot on. I cannot describe how good it is. So if you've got Netflix or BBC iPlayer, definitely look out that Vengeance Most Foul. The whole film is great, but the crescendo sequence at the end on the canal boats is just, it has to be seen to be believed. I'm watching it on repeat, and there's always little things you suddenly notice in the background that you didn't notice the first or second time around. Anyway, for a New Year's Day video, I think that will do. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you are a new or old member, I hope you will continue to keep watching the videos. Lots more to come, and all the best for 2025. Cheerio!